Hi, this is Bonnie, and I wanted to share with you a process that I am doing right now, and it has to do with one of the new stamps called Magical Keyhole. And I'm also going to be using, there's going to be more that I'm going to be using, but these two for sure I'm going to be using. This one's called Fairy Couple. And what I did is I made a stencil and a mask. And how I did that is I just went ahead and stamped the keyhole onto some cardstock. And then I hand cut the inside of it out. Now, what my plan is, I haven't done this yet, which is why I'm doing this video as I'm doing it, is what my plan is, I want to have a vision through the keyhole. So I want this area to be separate and not the same as the rest. I want it to look like it's in another dimension. So that is why I stamped it and I cut it out. So I'm also going to be saving this as an inside mask, because what I want to also do is I'm going to ink around the outside of this so that when I go to stamp this on, it will then also have a little bit of gray that's already filled in. I'm probably still going to use my colored pencils. So I'm just wanting to give you an idea of what my thought process is as I'm working on it. So once I do the outside of this, I will take this off, I will put this back on, and I will do the different world dimension inside of here. Okay? Okay, so to do this first part, I wanted to have this set up for the fairy couple to be looking like they are looking towards the other world, instead of just where they're at, that they can see the other dimension for that world. And so what I'm going to do first is, like I said, I'm just going to put a little bit of hickory smoke. It's a little bit darker gray. This background I did the same as what I usually do. I put pumice stone over the entire background. And now I'm just going to I'm going to hold this down and I'm going to lightly go around the outside of it, because I just want to have just a hint, even though I plan, like I said, to still use my colored pencil to color in that stamp. But I am not going to stamp the stamp until I also have made my dimensional world. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp. I don't know that this part is as necessary for the overall design, but even though it's splotchy, it'll be perfect for the stones, because I don't want them all the same. And plus I can always, like I said, adjust that as I color with colored pencil. I'm kind of, my table's a little jiggly today, and I apologize for that. Try not to rub so hard. And then this is going to be a pathway, so I'm going to leave that open. I am not going to do this bottom part. I can always come back and add that later, but you know what? I think looking at the stamp, there is a little bit at the bottom, so I am going to add a little, just a little. Okay, so that's the look that I'm going for right now. And then the next look, like I said, I want to make my dimensional world, and in order to do that, I'm going to be using this. And I'm going to be I'm going to put a moon back here, and I'm also going to have, there's a new stamp that is the a mini castle, and I'm going to put the mini castle in here too. I'll get that together. Okay, so I pulled out the mini castle, so I knew about where I wanted to put that in my design. It might even go up a little bit higher depending, but I cut out a circle that is 1 inch in diameter, and that is going to be my moon. And I'm using Faded Jeans Distress Oxide to give my moon a little bit of a halo. And I really want to make sure that, you know what, I am going to use my smaller brush. Lots of times I don't use these teeny tiny ones, but this might call for me to do just that, so that it doesn't go underneath my stencil there too much. The only thing I don't like about this is that it's just so restricted to that. I like it when it's more of a smooth and not just like a dot. So if I come to the side and do it, it's not as, but I just don't want it to go under the paper stencil. I just want a halo. Okay, that should give me what I need. And that's that look. And I'm just going to go and like go over it just to kind of smooth it out. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get back out the pumice stone and one of my pieces of torn paper. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and use a different piece of torn paper that's a little bit smaller. As I'm showing you, I'm just tearing up some paper. That is going to be what I'm going to use to put in some clouds. And like I said, I am using pumice stone. And that's exactly what I used for the background, but when you go to use it again, and I think I am going to use a bigger brush, just because I want more of a control. Okay. Let's see, I need a little bit more. Okay, that should work. Yep. Alrighty. So I'm making the clouds using this little piece of torn paper. And with my mask there, it should keep my dimensional world in one space. And even if it goes over just a little bit, it's where I'm going to be stamping the bricks. And again, I will be able to color most of that in with my colored pencil. I need that to be a little darker. I can see I need to start adding a little bit more ink, re-inking my pumice stone. I think I've used it a lot, and it's ready to be re-inked. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and audition this again just to see how that would go. And I think that looks really good. I wanna make it so that there's like little steps, kind of like a little path coming up that way. So let's just do this. And then we'll get ready for where the steps might go. Because I think that works really good. Right there, the castle is right there, and then we'll just do some little itty bitty lines right there. I think that's what we'll do. So I'm going to use this side. See where my castle is gonna go, and I'm gonna go ahead and use a pumice stone, and not very much because I want it to be a tiny path. Okay, there's one little line. A little bit more. You can see how that's faded and giving, I'll get it a little bit closer too so you can see it. But that's how I want it to look. And you have to kind of like visualize in your mind how you want this to look. And then you try to do it. But that kind of gives you the pathway down to this big path. Okay, so I'm going to show you that a little bit closer. You can see how that looks. So now I think I'm going to put a few clouds through the moon very lightly. Okay, so that's the look that I'm going for, to see how that will look. And like I said, then I will be able to stamp the castle right there. And then I'm going to be also stamping the keyhole. So that will work. The other thing that I will need to do before I stamp the keyhole is it depends on where I want to put the couple. If the couple is going to be going, whoops, let me put that up. If the couple is going to be going over, you know, in front of the keyhole, I need to make them into a mask. And I think I'm going to do that first before I stamp the keyhole. Okay, so now I'm setting up the castle and where I want it to put it. I'm going to keep my stencil on because again I want it to stay, even the edges of this, inside of that, I call it a keyhole window. So this is the best way for me to do that. And I'm going to be using Nocturne ink, VersaFine Clear Nocturne. And because this is a new stamp, I need to stamp it. I haven't used it yet, several times. See if that works. Okay, let's take a peek. That looks really good. I think I'm going to go ahead and just give it one more little stamp. Because that top part could have a little bit more ink, I think, on it. Okay. So, all right. So the next step is going to be, I'm going to have to make my mask for the fairy couple, so I can put that on next, so then I can stamp the keyhole. Okay, so I have it, all of the acetate on here, auditioning where everything is going to be going. And like I said, I needed to make a mask of the fairy couple, and I did that first. And so the next thing that needs to be done is I actually need to stamp the fairy couple on there first. They need to be down before I do the masking. So I can take all these other ones off for right now. And I'm going to use VersaFine Clear. And basically what you want to have in the front, or you know, to the closest to the, how do I want to say that? The stamp that's forward. Whatever you want to be in the closest to the front. That's what I meant to say, is what you stamp first. Anything that goes behind it, then you have to mask them off in this case. And again, I'm stamping with VersaFine Clear Nocturne on top of a Distress Oxide. Okay. And that, my ink must be drying out again, so I'm going to probably, after this, going to have to add more ink to my pad. Okay. Yep, it's gonna need some more. Like I said, my ink pad is a little bit dry, so I apologize for having to stamp this several times. I need to refill it. Here we go. Just one little spot I can see. It might be actually in my, probably have some dirty things sitting right there on her. It looks like it. Give it one more try. There we go. That's what we needed. And stamping for the first time, I usually have to stamp several times anyway. So the next thing is I will be putting down this mask. You notice I did not cut out these tiny parts of the wing. I don't know what you call them, but the decorative part, because that would not have made any difference at all. I am going to use a teeny tiny bit of tape just so that it doesn't move. And it's going to line up just like that. I'm going to show you that a little bit closer so you can see I'm just lining that up. That's my mask. And then I'm going to get out my keyhole. Okay, I'm going to get out my keyhole stamp. I'm going to get that lined up just right. And again, I'm going to be using, I'm going to move that out of the way, Nocturne ink. And the glare is messing me up, I can't see. Okay. All right. So that should work just like that. But I am going to go ahead and stop just for a second and refill my pad. Okay, so I've got my ink pad re-inked. And I'm going to go ahead and get this stamped. Oh, that looks so good. I can see right here how I need to fix that just a teeny tiny bit if I can. Put a little pressure there. Let's see. I'm going to try it just like this first. Because my mask is a little bit higher, I made it out of thicker cardstock. There we go. That's what I needed. And you can kind of see how that gray shadow on the outside that we made to begin with is there. So now you just take off, say I've got ink all over me, you just take off your mask and see how that looks. So you can see how that has layered up really nice. I really like that, how that works. So I hope that gives you an idea of what to do with a keyhole. I am going to continue to make the card, but the technique was what I wanted you to see, how you could do the keyhole with making a mask and then layering the people on top. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out how I'm going to do the rest, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I want to also use the wild roses, and I want it to be more like a background. So I'm going to use the morning mist when I put that on, and stamp out. I'm going to use a lighter color so it's more of a background because I still want to put the sentiment on. So I'm putting that over to the side, and I have also put that mask back on the fairy couple because again I want this to be behind the fairy couple, not over them. So I've also put it a little bit to the side because of how this wing is gonna show up. So that's why I set it up that way. Let's see if this works. Again, I just want it to be a subtle background stamp. So that's why I'm using the Morning Mist. And there's a good chance, because it's a new stamp, I'm going to have to stamp it twice and it'll be a little bit darker. But let's see, because I don't really care if it's not a full stamped image, as I want it to be in the background. Yeah. I think I can see one little spot. And I think it's like that because of the mask. Let's see if I can get it to come better. Yeah, that looks better. So that's what I wanted for right there. And I think, I'm not sure if I'm going to put any down here. Let's see. You're seeing this in real time. Me making a decision. Because it's not going to matter. I would like them just right there, but I don't, and they would really go just right there, except for that top piece. So I'm not going to stamp that top piece at all. I just want that little bit underneath them. And I think we can do just this bottom part. Be selective. Because I still have my mask on the fairy couple. Let's see. Yep, I need to go up a little bit higher. Okay, that worked really well for that. And I want this to be a little bit of a pathway, so I really don't want the roses in front. I might put a tad bit right here. So I'm going to have to move this over. I'll do that really quick and then I'll be right back. Okay, so this part of the rose will fit right around the bottom of that keyhole. So I went ahead and laid it down that way so that it would work. I might have to put more ink down here. Okay. Yep, that's exactly what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and take this mask off so you can see how that all looks like they're all coming together there. And then I need to put that sentiment right up there, and it will kind of go over a part of that rose, but I'm going to be using Nocturne ink, and so it will show up better. All right, let's get the sentiment on. Hold on, I must have put my sentiment someplace else. Hold on. Before I put the sentiment on, I decided I'm going to be making the scene. Like I told you, this was a keyhole into another world. So I want the world that they're in to have a scene also. So I'm going to go ahead and add this moon and make a halo just like I did inside of the keyhole with Faded Jeans Distress Oxide. And make sure I do not go over the bricks. Okay, so that's how that's going to look. And then I still am going to need to put some of the, oh, where did I do with it? Some of the sky. There we go. And I think I'm going to go ahead and use the pumice stone like we did before. So it's just basically kind of like a duplicate world, but it isn't. So, and I'm going to still be adding the sentiment. Okay, so right now I am using pumice stone. And I'm just going to be adding some clouds. And if you recall, I've said before that if you use a paper that already has ink on it like I do, when I go to do this, it will pull some of that ink and it will combine the Faded Jeans with my pumice stone. right. I'm going to have to tear another one like this eventually here because this one's really seen better days. I think I'll do one more very lightly. I don't want that really defined. Okay, over to the other side. And one more. Okay, well, I think I do the faded one down below too. There we go. So that's what that's going to look like for right now. And then the next thing is to put, like I said, the sentiment on. Okay, I keep forgetting to add these things because I haven't made this one yet. This is the first time, so I'm kind of like winging it. I want to have a little bit of a path to come out of the keyhole. So I'm going to go ahead and add some more pumice stone right here to give that a path look. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the little lines in that too. There's another option, I think it needs to be over further, is we have stamps. Fairy Hugs has stamps that you could actually even stamp. I think we have several. We have a wooden walkway, we have a stone walkway, we have the Path of Knowledge walkway. So you could even stamp any of those in here as well. Right now I'm just kind of giving it a little bit of a ink walkway. And I think that works. So that's all set up. Now I'm going to stamp my sentiment, finally. Okay, so I've got my sentiment set on there. And I made sure that it kind of went around everything. And I am using VersaFine Clear Nocturne again. That worked wonderfully. So the last thing I know for sure that I'm going to do is I'm going to be coloring in all of these roses with a light pink, pencil, Prisma pencil, and then I'll have my card top done. I suppose I could show you that I'll just add that really quick. Hold on. Okay, so this part will be me coloring some of these roses in, and I really wanted to apologize to you for me not being totally concentrated and kind of messed up as I'm doing this. As I'm filming this, I am filming it actually in December, and it happens to be my daughter-in-law is in the hospital getting ready to give birth to our 7th grandchild. So I'm a little distracted, trying to focus on what I'm doing, and I just apologize for that ahead of time. So what I did is I picked out 2 pinks. I picked out a lighter pink, and this is Deco Pink 1014, and all I did was I went ahead and just colored in the whole thing in the Deco Pink. That's just the bud. So let me go ahead and do a flower so you understand what I'm trying to accomplish. Each of these flowers has what is called cross hatch pencil lines in it, and it kind of gives the shading. So what you can do is go back with a darker pink, and this is 928, not even sure which one. I think this is rose, but not even sure because I've got it cut off, or not cut off, but sharpened off. You just go back in. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer. Okay, so you just go back in, you find out where that cross hatch is, and you consider that your shading, and you just color over the cross hatch part a little bit darker. And that gives you a little bit of shading for your flower. So that makes it kind of easy for you to do. And then for the, I didn't do that up here. And then for the leaves, same kind of concept. I'm using a lighter green, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just coloring that in. And then if I want to add just a little bit of shading, I use a darker green. That first green was, in case anybody really does do this, 120, and it's called, oh, it's such a glare I can't read it. Green, oh, sap green light. And then I am using Persian green, 109 for the shadow. And then just adding just a little bit to the one side. You can do either or. And that's basically what I'm going to be doing with all of the roses. Again, you just go ahead, color the whole thing in with your lighter pink. You can do more to it than this if you want to. This is just a quick way to show you how you can add color even to your light stamped backgrounds to give a little bit more interest to your card. And then again, like I said, the dark pink, darker pink, and I'm just coloring in, like I said, the cross hatch marks that are in the flower, which will, like I said, give more of a dimension to the flower then. Okay? Give a little bit there. And I'll do one more leaf to show you. And again, lighter color. And then a little bit of a darker color. Okay, so that's pretty much what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and finish that off camera because you need to watch me do, and just wanted to give you an idea of what you did need to do if you wanted to try that. So this has been a rather longer video. I hope you enjoyed some of those techniques. I hope that they helped you or encouraged you to make a card similar. It would be great to see them. So again, thank you so much for stopping by. I will have in the description below the stamps and the links to where you can find them. Thanks so much.